Hi folks, welcome back to Scooby Doo Month. I'm dealing with a little bit of fall allergies right now, so my voice is a little bit different than it usually is. So, I've never been very into video games, but I do casually play tabletop games. Every now and then, I play Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic the Gathering online. Does that count as a video game? I don't think so. Anyway, so recently I was playtesting a new zombie deck on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro because it's getting close to Halloween, so why not? When I remembered possibly the cringiest joke in the history of Scooby Doo. See, Scooby Doo has always made pop culture references, primarily in the form of music or then current celebrities, and yes, this does date the episodes quite a bit. But fortunately, most of the franchise run has picked celebrities that ended up having some staying power. I talked about how great Mama Cass Elliot was earlier this year. But What's New Scooby Doo had the misfortune of picking celebrities that were hopelessly embedded in the early 2000s, if the Simple Plan theme song didn't give that away. However, some of What's New's references were pretty terrible even back when it aired in the 2000s, like the Simple Plan theme song. In the final episode of the series, E-Scream, the gang attends a game convention where the villains are Awesomon, a very clear Pokemon XP, the toys of which come to life. At one point, a pair of rival game makers want to introduce a new toy to dethrone Awesomon. And what is the toy? Let me introduce you to YuGiOh! Oh my god, the hair! Okay, so some important context here. What's New Scooby Doo aired on Kids WB, the same Saturday morning programming block as Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Though this episode actually aired on Cartoon Network, where most of the Kids WB stuff got syndicated, but anyway. So references to Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Made sense as a kind of network in-joke. But this scene has such a how do you do, fellow kids vibe? It's just kind of ridiculous. It also feels somewhat like What's New is making fun of its fans, like, haha, if you watched this show, you almost certainly also watched Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. You mindlessly consumed Pokemon, but now you're replacing that by mindlessly consuming Yu-Gi-Oh! I think this is probably the worst pop culture joke in the history of Scooby-Doo. Yes, even worse than Simple Plan. But that doesn't make for a particularly long episode, so I just want to talk about something even cringier. And before we do that, if there's anyone who's been living under a rock since 1996, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a widely popular manga series that's basically a coming-of-age story about tabletop gamers set in a world of cosmic horror, where, among other games, the characters play their in-universe version of Magic the Gathering called Duel Monsters. There were 2 anime adaptations, and currently 7 anime spin-offs, and the real-life version of the card game has sold $10 billion since. What makes this franchise better than its ripoffs like Duel Masters is its tendency to go to some very dark places, especially in the manga, and the strength of the late Kazuki Takahashi's writing, and in particular his characters. Now, you may know that every April I do an Autism Awareness Month special, mostly talking about neurodivergent culture and civil rights issues. A lot of autistic people like tabletop games. I don't think I'm saying anything novel here. Of course, therapists, being therapists, love to therapize autistic people's hobbies, so let me introduce you to not one, but 2 therapy trading card games. You like trading card games, fellow kids? Well, you'll love this Neurotypical Social Skills trading card game. Neurotypical Social Skills is just ABA Light, but that's a rant for another day. Let's begin by introducing you to Ryu, which takes more cues from Pokemon than Yu-Gi-Oh!, where you have to evolve your dragon character from an egg to an adult. You do this by defeating the so-called forces of darkness like rigidity and apathy, the way you are, by playing the forces of light cards, like flexibility, empathy, and being neurotypical in general. The good thing about this game is it seems to be defunct. The website that sells it no longer appears to be live. But the second card game is still very much alive. You know those cartoon faces with different expressions that therapists patronize autistic people with? They have attack points now. Such is the nature of Emoto, A game so cringy it almost makes Lorcana look like it wasn't cooked up by Magic players binging Disney Plus on way too many drugs. And I don't know if the creators of these games are listening, but the main reason autistic people and neurodivergent people like tabletop games is that it facilitates escapism from a world that hates and wants to fix neurodivergence, and does so in a way that plays to strengths of systematization. Hey fellow kids, don't you want to obsess over therapy? And by implication how broken society thinks you are? That's it for this time, folks. I hope to pick up Scooby Doo Month with greater intensity now that we're coming up on actual October. See you soon. Bye-bye.